With Liverpool flying high with some amazing results already, can Klopp's men win their first title in 28 years? I'm joined by Red Men TV's Chris Pajak. You know him already. How you doing, Chris?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm good after another victory.
Are you buzzing?
Absolutely. You've got to be. When Liverpool win a game like that, it's better than almost winning 4-0 against the team at home.
Yeah. How good is this Liverpool side, though? I mean, look, if you can, just take the kind of Liverpool blinkers off for a second. We all do it as fans. That's what we're supposed to do. But just how good is this side? Or is it that good?
It is good, first and foremost. I think, obviously, with the signings the Klopp's made and the fact that we have carried on from the end of the season. You know, we were in good form up until, obviously, the Champions League final and stuff, and it looks like we've just carried on, and Klopp's playing players that have played for him for a long time. Now, obviously, we've had the addition of a goalkeeper that makes a big difference to us, but it looked like after 2 games we can win a game like Crystal Palace where we maybe would have struggled at times last season.
What's frustrating for me as a Spurs fan is Klopp's clearly gone out and strengthened where he needs to. You know, you were a little bit frail at the back. Van Dijk's come in and you look like a completely different team, a completely different defence. So solid at the back now, where there was potential question marks before. Needed a central midfielder. Went out and bought Naby Keita. You know what? And spent a lot of money as well. But is it? It just seems like an obvious thing to do, but most clubs don't do it. Liverpool have just gone out and plugged these gaps, haven't they?
Yeah, it is an obvious thing to do, but, you know, I've sat here and watched Liverpool for 30 odd years now, and it's not often that we've gone out and got everybody that you think that we need. And most clubs don't do that either. You know, Michael Edwards needs to be given a lot of credit as well, who's looking after the transfers. And Jurgen Klopp doesn't budge on players, much like Pochettino, to be fair. I don't know the reasoning why Pochettino hasn't signed, but if he's shopping in the top bracket and no one's available, what's the point if you can't improve your side? You may as well develop your side and coach them up. And Klopp's able to do both at the moment. You know, everybody wants to play for Liverpool. The likes of Virgil van Dijk wanted to be a leader at Liverpool Football Club rather than just a cog in maybe Manchester City's machine, and he could go down as a true legend of the club. And the same with Naby Keita. Players are now wanting to come to Liverpool, whereas a few years ago the likes of Eriksen was going to you, Willian was going to Chelsea. Now the players that we identify seem to want to come and play for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool.
Why is that then? What's changed?
He's boss, mate. He's boss and we're boss. And ultimately, you know, we're paying wages now that all the top clubs around Europe are paying. Equally, I think everybody's seen what we can do in the Champions League. The players don't want to play 6 games in the Champions League. There's no point in playing 6 games in the Champions League and getting knocked out in the group stages. They want to play for a team who can go quite far in the Champions League, and Liverpool proved that they can do that last season. And it's an exciting brand of football, one that players look like they want to be a part of. And you know that you've got a manager there who's not going to throw you under the bus, who's going to back you and give you the tools to go out there and do your job to the best of your ability, make you better and trust you in key situations.
It's key. I think that is key. And you look at what's happening at Man United with Mourinho. It doesn't seem like he has any kind of trust in his players. It seems like the atmosphere is completely toxic there. Everybody kind of heralds Mourinho, myself included, as being an incredible manager and achieved amazing things. But then you've got Klopp down the road, who's doing things in a different way. He's built a unit and players that he won't throw under the bus, and he'll criticise them where necessary. Even against Palace. He mentioned that the fullbacks could have done better, and there's improvements to be made there. But as a Liverpool fan, I can understand the kind of adulation that you have for Klopp, because he seems to have such a feel-good factor around him, and it must be an incredible thing to be a part of.
It is, and you know what? It's key what you've just said there to end that is it's to be a part of, and we definitely feel a part of it now. I think, you know, he's kind of awoken something in the Liverpool fan base that's not been there for a few years, certainly since the tail end of 13-14, where we think we can affect football matches, and we're going as part of this of the crowd and being a part of the experience. And you know, you just have to think back to that Champions League run last season. Everybody said to us for years the Anfield atmosphere doesn't matter. Well, I'm sorry, we've kind of proved that it does matter. We've proved it over a number of years now, going back to the 70s against Saint-Etienne, going back to the mid-noughties against Chelsea, most recently against Manchester City, Roma, and we didn't even need to do it against Porto because we absolutely smashed them 5-0.
How does it compare to that of the Brendan Rodgers side? Because of that Brendan Rodgers side, because that came so close. It was a really good side. You had some most heroic kind of stalwarts in Gerrard and Carragher obviously the incredible flair and tenacity and guile of Suarez. But this seems like a different side. Which one's better, do you think?
I think right now, the Brendan Rodgers side obviously ran the league closer, but it feels to me like this side's going to be better than that side. And, credit to Brendan Rodgers, he built an incredible first 11 there. But we were playing with about maybe 14 players over the course of the entire season. And he kind of, I don't want to disrespect him too much, but it kind of felt like he fumbled into a 3 at the back situation and then maybe a diamond later on in the season. And that's great management.
Yeah.
It takes a very good tactician to be able to mould a side to do that towards the end of the season. But this has felt like it's just the evolution. Each season we've got better and better. Klopp's plan hasn't changed in any way, shape or form. He's tinkered slightly, but the formation's been the same since the start of last season. The players that we've got have bought into it. So it feels like now we've got a more coherent plan to go on and achieve the goals that this side and this club want to achieve.
Yeah, obviously you got to the Champions League final last year. If you look back at it with hindsight, extremely unlucky. 2 howlers from Karius is obviously well documented. An incredible goal from Bale, which he's unlikely to score ever again. You went really close, and you pushed in the league as well. What are Liverpool fans expecting this year? Is it Champions League and league glory?
I think Liverpool fans want the league, don't they? And you always, you want to put the pressure on Flav. And I think that's something that's very difficult to do. We're probably coming up against arguably the greatest Premier League side that's ever existed in Manchester City. The gap was 25 points between us last season. If we can get that down to 5 points, I'd be really happy with that. I think that's a really strong season. Gaining 20 points on your rivals is absolutely brilliant. But it's not those one-on-one games with Manchester City where Liverpool need to improve. It's the other games, those mid-table sides, to be fair, also other top 6 sides we struggled with last season. The season before, we were exceptional against them. I think we obviously want a run in Europe as well. Personally, I think we're better set up for a run in Europe than a league title again. Just because of the way that we play. I think the difference between maybe Manchester City right now and Liverpool is when there isn't much space on the football field, Manchester City seem to overload with a lot of numbers. Liverpool don't do it in quite the same way. We rely on space in the channels and runs into space, and Manchester City rely on a much more possession-based game where they're constantly working you and finding the chinks in your armour, whereas Liverpool rely a little bit more on the counter-attack. And for me, that's probably the key difference right now. I think they're better set up to dominate the league because of that possession-based game. But when it comes to maybe 1 or 2 big games, Liverpool can set up and counter-attack, and teams in Europe, when we're playing away from home, that's exactly what we're able to do. It would take a very brave manager to set up like they came to Anfield, maybe with a low block side. So for me right now, I think we are better set up for European football. But with 2 games into the season, we could see Liverpool change it up slightly and go to that more sort of ticky-taka football. But I'd be really surprised if we did that.
What's the mood around generally, though? So you're much more pragmatic and sensible than most football fans, in my opinion, Chris. But what?
I'm not sure about that.
I mean, look, what's
honestly? Catch me 5 minutes after a match, and there's no pragmatism anywhere near me.
But nor should there be. That's football. That's football fans. I think you look at things reasonably, and the way you answer that question about being 5 points behind City at the end of the season, it makes sense. 20 points, closing to grab 20 points is a huge achievement, even if you don't win the league. But football fans don't really see things that way, and they probably are there fans out there at Liverpool, like there seem to be at other clubs, where they expect almost too much. Like, this is an incredible Liverpool side, 100%, and is definitely set up to push City all the way. Obviously, the problem you got is the fact that this Man City side is incredible. And if should you beat them, it would be one of the most amazing achievements, I think, at least in the Premier League history. So, what are there fans out there that want it all? And do you think that would be problematic for Liverpool, or are you a different type of fan base altogether?
No, I think that there's certainly a portion of fans. It's not the majority that think Liverpool will win the league this season, I would say. I think most people understand just how good Manchester City are, but there is certainly a portion of Liverpool fans that do believe and do think that Liverpool can win the league. It's going to be incredibly tough. We've just both talked about how good Manchester City are, and they're incumbent champions, aren't they? At the moment, they're the team to beat, and they've started the season just as well, if not better, than Liverpool. expectant, probably not. Hopeful, and with belief. Yeah, I think Liverpool fans do have belief now, and that's what Jurgen Klopp and this side have been able to give us.
And that's the healthiest way to look at it, isn't it? Like, expectancy is the wrong way. It's almost poisonous. It can be. You've seen what's happened at Arsenal. They almost expect too much, despite all the things that were promised to them. It's that expectance and that raised level of demanding success that actually can be quite cancerous to a football club. And I think, like you said, it's about being positive and about being hopeful, and that can end up in a very kind of cohesive and successful and productive way of supporting your football club. And I kind of wish that more fans would be like that. You go on Twitter and you see something completely different. All right, just to finish, Chris, what are Liverpool's weaknesses, if there are any at all? How can a team get at them?
I think it's cramped the space, and I think it's counter-attack still. Virgil van Dijk has gone a long way to impart a confidence into this side that we now have defending. Listen, we're the only side in the league so far after 2 games that haven't conceded a goal. Monday Night Football do an incredible job of analysis every single week, and they did something about Liverpool's defence since Hughes beat us 4-1 in October 2017 about conceding the least goals. That is something that Liverpool fans have noticed for the last few months. It's not something that's news to us, whereas it might be to the rest of the country. We're defending much better as a unit now. We're not overloading in attack and leaving ourselves short and open at the back. But the way that Liverpool can be beaten is almost to be stopped in an attacking sense, and I think we still do struggle against the low block sides, and we will do until we're able to get players further forward, until maybe Naby Keita is fully integrated into this side. The miss of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain through injury could be huge for Liverpool this season. He was a player who's absolutely fantastic at transitioning from midfield to attack for us, and we need to find our way there a little bit. But we've got quality players all over the pitch who can turn the game in the blink of an eye. And listen, last night against Crystal Palace was a different Liverpool kind of victory, a Liverpool victory that was built on solid defence. If we can continue that, then we'll have a very, very good season.
Thank you very much, Chris. Been a legend as ever. Remember, if you're new to Bull Street and you don't know what the Red Men TV is, then go and subscribe to them. That'd be mental. That wouldn't make any sense at all. Bull Street, if you've got to this point in the video and you're still enjoying it, please consider subscribing, give it a like, and we'll see you tomorrow.